Well, welcome back, and it's another television video, and this is a television I'd forgotten I'd got completely, and in this little video we have a quick look at it and see if we can get it working. So please watch the video, and thank you as always. While we seem to be on the theme of vintage televisions, and strangely enough, as I've got the Pye FV1, subject to my last video on that, just about up and running and as best I think I'm going to get it, I was looking for a home to situate it, and I came across something that I'd covered up into a couple of black plastic sacks a few years ago. Totally forgotten I'd got this, and I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at this. So here we have a Pye LV30 that dates from 1950, so it predates the FV1 by about a year. You can probably see we're back to the smaller 9-inch tube on this one. Still got this pink, which I think they did that because they thought it gave better contrast or such like, but that's by the by. Now this isn't one at a set I was bought. Sadly, in the last couple of years I've had to several older people that I knew that were into vintage radios and televisions passed away, and I've had to, I mean, they asked me to do this many years ago because they didn't want their stuff to get thrown away, which is a very valid point. They just didn't want a house clearance firm to come in and dispose of their radio collections. So I dealt with a very big radio collection, with great help from the British Vintage Wireless Society on that one. But this came from a smaller person's collection who sadly died, and he didn't have many radios, and he only had a couple of vintage televisions, one being a lot later model, which I passed on because somebody wanted one of those, so I passed it on pretty quickly. This one, however, because I didn't know of the condition of the cabinet, and there was a little bit of sign of some, looked like very old woodworm in the cabinet at the bottom, so I put it in some black plastic bags and tied it all up and left it. He'd always told me that this set had at some time been restored. I don't know who by. It certainly wasn't the guy in question, because he didn't do any restoration works on radios. He just liked them about more often, you know, as decorations, or, you know, just to look at, reminding him of the past kind of thing. So I've taken it out the cabinet. It's quite unique, these smaller Pyes, because the chassis comes out with the tube attached to it. I kind of like that. Obviously it makes servicing a lot easier because the tube is held into the chassis, and you don't have you know, that wobbling about if you have to take it out or do anything. Several people have asked me, you know, about restoring old televisions, and I thought this was a classic time to have a look at that. Obviously, what I would say is, before you, if anybody wanted to restore an old television, I would be extremely cautious. And you know, I had been, before I branched into televisions, I had been messing about and repairing old valve radios for the likes of 30-40 years, ever since I was a teenager basically, and so I'd got a good understand of the workings of old radios, and I'd also studied a little bit of electronics as well, not this vintage kind of electronics obviously, but obviously you get to know, and I think, you know, I wouldn't say jump in straight to a television, you know, have a go at restoring probably an old radio, but there's so much information out there regarding, you know, the safety angle, the do's and don'ts of it. There's some really good information out there on YouTube, on websites. You know, if you want to have a go at restoring anything, you know, vintage radio or television wise, you know, read everything that you can, you know, before. Don't just go into it blind. They can be dangerous, as all electrics can, particularly these sets. Got to be careful because I've got the speaker up here. I will show you. I mean, this is what is called an AC/DC receiver, so it would work on DC or AC mains, because obviously in 1950 there were still parts of the UK that was served by DC mains coming into your house. So this is basically a live chassis. One side, if we put the multimeter on continuous, you know, on a continuity check, so there we go, rub the two ends together, that's beeping away, and the set is switched on. So now here's the mains input, the 240 volt mains input plug, and if we touch that side and then touch the chassis, you can see one side of the set is connected directly to the mains. So obviously, you know, great caution is needed with these sets, and you really want to know what you're doing and what you shouldn't touch, what you can touch. And I always, when I'm working on any vintage radio or television, I have a double wound isolation transformer, and I'm trying to get the, yep, there we are, under the bench, a double wound isolation transformer with a single plug on it, so I know there is only one item, like hence this television. If and when I'm ready to plug this in, I will plug it in via this isolation transformer just on the one socket, because if you have an isolation transformer and you plug a radio and a television, that can lessen the effect of it, so I believe. So as I say, you only want to plug the one item into your isolation double wound transformer, and that's no guarantee, you know, that's just a precaution. And likewise, when you're handling and touching old television tubes, they can be dangerous, you know, they can implode. So if you're moving them or cleaning them, you do really need some pretty tough safety goggles or safety glasses, and that's a wise precaution. So that's my little blurb on the safety aspect of it. There's much more, and as I say, please, I might well put some links to sites that I like and have been useful to me over the years, and you know, you feel free to read those. And as I say, that's the key to it, you know. Start at the basics and, you know, have a go at some radios if you want to get into this vintage technology. And there's loads of YouTubes out there. There's some brilliant people doing this on YouTube, far better than me. You know, I'm you know, haven't got the facilities in my small kind of workshop to break it down and, you know, probably do it stage by stage, unfortunately. But I thought I'd show you this because before I went and switched this set on, there again, I haven't restored this set. Probably if we zoom in a little bit now on that, and you can see underneath the chassis, I mean, overall, and by the way, there is no mains connected to this set at the moment. It's the plug, as you can see. I've got the plug is out of it, and as I haven't even tried it yet, and it looks as though it's been restored or repaired, shall we say, to quite a, you know, reasonable level. I've got there again, when you're doing any televisions, you do really need the associated data, and I've got the LV30 data from one of these radio and TV servicing books, which I've got the whole set, and so it's handy just to go to these and get the basic data there, and a schematic drawing of the set, and then you can have a look and see what you think. As I've had a look at this, and as I say, look, the capacitors have been changed, a lot of them, not all of them in this set, but that doesn't matter, that's probably okay. It's had new smoothing electrolytics there, and obviously these were more than likely old wax paper capacitors that have been you know, changed for these modern yellow ones. I mean, a lot of people, if you really want to go to town on this and keep the set looking as original, and I have done this on some 30s radios, you can take the old wax paper capacitors and probably keep the covers and insert a new yellow modern day capacitor of the same value in there, so it looks as though it's, you know, the set hasn't been touched. But on televisions I don't tend to do that, and obviously this person hasn't neither. That is the line output transformer there, and it's a pitch covered one. There again, I don't know, kind of, you know, whether that was dried out. These can suffer from damp penetration over many years. So overall it kind of looks okay, and I've tracked a lot of the bits back and looked at a lot of the capacitors, and I think we're getting close to the point now when we shall, you know, I'm done some checks on it as well, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm quite happy to, you know, to put power to this set and try it. That's no guarantee that it'll work. I don't think it's going to go bang, because as I say, the vast majority of capacitors have been changed, and it looks as though a fair job was made of it, but one never knows. So as I say, you can see basically, and this is only a small television set of that period, you know, you can see how many capacitors have been changed on here. If you think all the yellow ones and the blue one and the blue one there and the yellow ones there, all the new yellow ones have all been changed, so it is a lot of work, but at the end of the day it's a hobby, and you know, like I've said before, to me it doesn't matter how long it takes, whether you do it in a day, whether you do it in 3 weeks, 3 months, or even 3 years. I've had sets on the go, you know, for that sort of period. I did take the speaker baffle board out because I'm going to treat that, because I noticed a few little woodworm holes there, and I can't make my mind up whether that's fresh woodworm. Woodworm love this plywood in televisions. Some people have told me it's the glue, but I think it was probably a combination of the fact that, you know, these sets got really warm, and the cottages often, or houses where these, you know, televisions were in 1950 were quite damp at times. There was no central heating, or hardly any central heating in the UK then. You know, it was just a coal fire, and so there was a vast temperature change, and it was ideal conditions for woodworm, and as I say, they love these television cabinets. This is a small console model, by the way. We will have a look at it complete with the cabinet later on. So there we go. I'll do a little bit more work, and then we'll come on for the big switch on and see how we go. Right, well, here we go. The moment of truth. The switch on with the telly. What will happen? Well, we have a raster. Oh, way up. Well, for a first switch on, I don't think that's too bad at all, really. Not brilliant. As you can see, the circle in the middle is not, don't know how that's performing on the camera, but let's just zoom in a little bit. It sometimes, you know, makes lines, these cameras. I mean, there's some burn on the, you would expect that of a television probably this age, some iron burn like in the middle there of the tube, but quite a nice little strong little picture, really. I mean, I think I've got the brightness up just a little bit too much, and could do with a tweak here and there, but got a very scratchy volume pot there again, but yeah, I'm delighted with that. This is a bonus television. I did remember on the Aurora converter I've got, because the I got the Pye FV1 running on channel 4, which was the old Birmingham, which it had been set to, you know, when it was in this area. And I very often forget to change the Aurora, because this is a London only. This is the LV30 was a Alexandra Palace channel 1 London set. So I did remember to, you know, you sometimes wonder you're not getting anything through there, and I haven't switched, but I remember to do that at this time. Yeah, I'm delighted with that. As I say, some more, you know, I'm not going to tweak it at the moment and pull it out, because this is genuinely the first time I've ever switched this set on. So obviously somebody has, you know, taken, I mean, looking underneath, it has been restored to a degree. I'm delighted. It's quite a nice little stable picture there, isn't it? And as I say, obviously this circle is very distorted at the moment. I think we can sort that out, and yeah. Yeah, I'll perhaps do a little video when I've got it all back in the console cabinet, which I will briefly show you in a minute or two. So yeah, I'm delighted with that. That's great. As I say, it was only the reason I moved some stuff about, and I just got it pushed right at the back in 2 black plastic bags, because it's an unknown quantity. I didn't know whether it got woodworm. You always worry, you know, about. I've been given this set in a, you know, in a will basically. He left quite a few radios, and there was just 2 televisions, and this was one of them. It's quite a nice, you know, focused picture actually. So there we go. We'll end it there for this time, and like I said, I'll just a quick little update to this. I'll look it over and make sure everything is a-okay, and once I get it back in the cabinet I will probably do a little video on it then. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Please do think about subscribing. It does help us smaller channels, and I really do thank you for that. And your likes and your comments are great. Love getting your comments, and as always, thanks very much, and I'll see you in a future video, and for now, all the best to you.